So let's go ahead and dive into our Maester's study as we're talking today. We're taking a look at the Rainbow Guard.
Yeah, and as we said, I mean, is this the greatest failure of any air quote like Kingsguard in the history? I mean, this is bad. You know, it's
Right.
it was founded in 298 AC, disbanded in 299 AC. Okay, did not last very long at all. Right at the end of that year, and it's interesting. So this is Renly's guard. This is his Kingsguard, and it's known as the Rainbow Guard, also called the Rainbow Knights. And when we first come across Brienne, Catelyn is coming into the camp. She asked to be named as one of his, as a member of his Rainbow Guard. They're sworn to protect the king. I mean, they have similar. I'm guessing they have similar vows. They don't actually go into what their actual vow is, but it's got to be similar to what the Kingsguard is. You know, so. Anyways,
right.
let's go over a couple of the members here. So Sir Loras Tyrell is the Lord Commander, and he's the one who's closest to Renly, and he's a big deal. He's actually epic. I mean, we see him in a Game of Thrones. We see him at the Hands Tourney. We're gonna learn a lot more about him.
And you talk about that's a character who we actually should do a wins a winner prediction on at some point, because he's in a totally different spot. totally
yes,
different spot.
Yeah, and completely different. And there's so much going on. I mean, it's brutal. He's in a really dire situation. So, yeah, we'll talk about him. And so let's go through the rest of these members. So we've got Sir Robar Royce, who is there. Catelyn speaks with him, wonders why he is here serving Renly and not over in the Vale. Lord Bryce Caron is a member. Sir Emmon Cuy, Sir Guyard Morrigen, Brienne of Tarth, and Sir Parmen Crane that rounds out kind of our Rainbow Guard. And just real quickly to kind of go over these guys and where they're at, we're going to talk about, well, I mean, it is a little bit, well, we're going to talk about the chapter here too, because they're charged with guarding Renly. You know what? Later on, we have a Raven in this episode where we're going to talk about great what-if scenarios. And one of the best what-if scenarios is, what if the Rainbow Guard would have done their job?
Did their job.
Right? Yeah. I mean, this is...
I don't know that they could have prevented this.
You don't think Sir Barristan Selmy could have seen that shadow and gotten his king out of the way?
Who knows? They probably could have got him out of the way or something, yeah.
No, I'm just kind of teasing. I mean, I think Sir Barristan can do anything, you know, so that's good old Sir Barristan Selmy. But he's not here. He is not here. I mean, we're left with these guys. And honestly, do you think when you look at this group, are like the guy that stands out is Sir Loras, right? The Knight of Flowers. Right. He's the guy who is really epic. Brienne of Tarth is also, we know, very skilled and formidable, but these other guys we don't really know that much. It almost seems like it's an honorary position versus like they really are skilled at. I mean, they're skilled, don't get me wrong, but it's almost like they're not true Kingsguard members. Like they're not selected because of their prowess or their battle tactics, their skill. I mean, it's to make alliances. It's to make alliances with these houses. And then, yeah, you have a second son. I'm going to give him this position. Now, outside of though, Robar Royce, who that is just someone who he's fairly boss in his own right, but he really is just someone who was near Renly and wanted to kind of continue to serve him. He came with Jon Arryn to King's Landing and then kind of continues on in his service there. And that's the thing about Renly is he's a likable guy, and he's someone that you want to be king, although it's not his right. I mean, he should give way to Stannis. That is
right.
The way of it. Well, but you would prefer him. You would prefer him as king.
The argument is, hey, Robert took the throne, and Renly, hey, if he can take it, by all means, it's yours. But it's just that when your brother has your older brother has a legitimate claim to it, now you're in this position where you're thinking, I'm gonna take out my brother and then go take. It's like now it's like you're gonna have to fight another force. Why do the whole thing make it harder? I mean, you could easily be hand to the king. I mean, Stannis also doesn't have any sons. I mean, he could die. I mean, there's just so many better scenarios that he could do right now to position himself in a better position, and he doesn't do any of them.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And it's like you said.
I mean, how many forces are you gonna lose fighting your brother? Is it worth it when you're trying to go take a King's Landing?
Right, I know, and that's the tough part is that we prefer him, and you almost can't. If he didn't have an older brother, who cares? I mean, you could be any. Right. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's Clash of Kings. Anybody who wants
Balon
to
Greyjoy
call yourself king. If Balon's a great dude and we want to follow him, awesome, that's great. But if you have an older brother who has a legitimate claim, like that is just what it puts us in such a little kind of like we can't. I almost can't believe it happened, and that's
right.
Ambition and whatever. Yeah. And it's also, we talked about this when we first were introduced to Renly. It's like, he is the people around him, the sphere of influence, these young, eager, ambitious men who want to kind of, they want to be around the king. They know that they're close to him. So forget Stannis. We're not close to Stannis. Stannis seems to be far and distant, and nobody has a real good relationship with him, but Renly we do. So let's try to elevate him, which will then elevate ourselves. And I think, honestly, some of these Rainbow Guard members are they are looking to kind of, I don't want to say they're pawns, but like, we don't really get a lot on how they were kind of brought into the Rainbow Guard. But when you look at their houses, right. You go to like House Crane, you go to some of the others, and you're thinking, maybe it's just an alliance thing. It's a second son or a third son or someone who was a cousin who's not inheriting and becoming a lord, but yet you're going to strengthen that house's tie to House Baratheon and to the Tyrells a little bit, which I think might be part of it. But real quickly though, let me go over the members here. So Sir Robar Royce is killed by Loras for not preventing Renly's murder. Lord Bryce Caron switches allegiance to Stannis after Renly's death. He is slain at the Blackwater. Sir Emmon Cuy killed by Loras for not preventing Renly's murder. So after Renly is murdered, Sir Robar and Sir Emmon Cuy are there. And by the way, each of them has a color. I should mention that. So Sir Robar the Red, Sir Emmon the Yellow, right? They're in there. And the Lord Commander, Sir Loras Tyrell, goes in and kills them in a rage. And he actually regrets later killing Sir Robar just a little bit. He almost kind of like, he couldn't believe it. I mean, for the king to die, I mean, everything falls to pieces here. I mean, this is right. bad as you can get. And no one even saw how this intruder got in there. So there's that. Sir Guyard Morrigen switches alliances to Stannis. So there's two guys. 2 dead, 2 switch alliances. Brienne of Tarth runs away. Sir Parmen Crane actually does switch alliances to Stannis, but then he is sent to take control of Renly's army at Bitterbridge, and Loras captures him. So he is still captured. So that is Parmen Crane. Interestingly, in A Storm of Swords, he is just left at Highgarden after being captured by Loras Tyrell. So that was this whole piece where I think Stannis was getting some of these guys who were switching sides, and he's kind of saying, prove your loyalty to me, go back to Bitterbridge, see if you can acquire some of Renly's force. I need more of those men to come over to me, especially if they were originally Baratheon bannermen. They need to be over here. But you run across the Tyrells, and they're just sitting there kind of waiting to see who's going to come negotiate with them, and we know later that Littlefinger does negotiate with them, and they end up kind of saving the day there for the Lannisters. But that is the Rainbow Guard. And while I'm on it, I wanted to quickly mention a couple other interesting guards. So we know the Kingsguard. That's what we're introduced to is the Kingsguard. And then so we get this Rainbow Guard, slightly different. Robb does not have a Kingsguard. He has what's called a Battle Guard. and there's no really formal vows with that. It's more just that, like, these are his bannermen, these are his, great warriors who are around Robb, and they're numerous. So that's what he has. Daenerys, Queensguard, right? We can talk about that a little bit. That's sort of another kind of group that we see that is guarding a leader. And then an interesting one is the Brotherhood of the Winged Knights. And I always thought these guys were interesting in that they serve Lord Robert Arryn, Sweet Robin, and he's like, wanting more than instead of 7, he wants 8. Just kind of interesting. So you see these kind of groups, or when someone rises to power, they're trying to get like a little posse around them to kind of protect them or whatever. And so I just thought it was kind of a neat little connection to these little factions that are guarding some of our main players. And actually, they're having a great. This is kind of a Winds of Winter. I think it's a Winds of Winter preview chapter where the Winged Knights, the Brotherhood of the Winged Knights, are having like a competition. They're kind of competing to see who can get in. And that may have been, right. I may be just misremembering this, but the Rainbow Guard, that may have been similar to what was happening. Brienne of Tarth was in that melee, but I don't know that she was necessarily competing to. She was given.
She just kind of wins. She just wins, and Renly's just kind of having a party, and gives her position. Like
a wish, yeah. I mean, like if there's something within my power that I can do for you, and boom, she says to be a member of your Rainbow Guard. It's like, did he have an opening or did he boot somebody out for her? I don't really, didn't really say. So, but yeah, man, I don't know. I think it's pretty neat. I just like the idea of the Kingsguard and these men who. I love when Sir Barristan Selmy talks about the Kingsguard of old, and when Eddard Stark is talking to Bran about these guys and how they were a different caliber back in the day. They were the best of the best.
These legendary warriors.
Right. Exactly. So you've got a bunch of people who seem to almost be playing at that and trying to get that status, but they're really just not. They're not there. And even Sir Barristan says even the Kingsguard is currently under Joffrey is a joke.